joined by Ireland cricket captain Laura Delany. Laura, we're coming to the end of 2022. It's hard to believe that it's nearly over. A lot has happened, a lot of cricket. What for you has been the highlight?
Thank you for having me. Yeah, I feel like we played a lot of cricket, particularly over the last number of weeks. I think the highlight for us would have been qualifying for the World Cup in South Africa in February. We had our qualifiers there in Abu Dhabi at the start of September, and I think a lot of our fixtures this summer circled around that and making sure that the team were well prepared and in the best position possible to qualify, which we did. And then I think following that is just our recent tour to Pakistan. So
Such a busy time. It's been a different year though for you guys as well. Like kind of off the field, a lot's been happening. Just in terms of getting those semi-professional contracts. Have you found that made a difference?
yeah, definitely. I suppose going back to March when full-time contracts were brought in, I was actually injured at the time, and I think there's 15 of us that are on retainer contracts, and then everyone else in the squad is on a non-retainer contract. But outside of having the contract, it just gives us more contact time with their coaches. It means anyone that is injured is in a position to come out, touch base with their physio and S&C nearly every day to get back as soon as possible. And I think outside of that, then making sure that we have full availability for any tours that we go on. So I think the full-time contracts have been a massive step in the right direction, and I do think our performances on the pitch have reflected that.
Yeah, they absolutely have. I mean, it's all about just being able to do the work and then recover as well, because that's so important. Just in terms of the work that you've done with Ed, like he's been in the job now a little while, and it feels like that with every passing maybe season, year, whatever way you want to put it, that the squad are improving all the time.
Yeah, and I think looking back at the start of the summer, the girls had a home series against South Africa. We won one T20 against South Africa. Then we led into a series against Scotland. We beat Scotland in all three games. And likewise then against Holland, and we had a clean sweep there again. So I think with every performance, we're growing as a team. And as I said, that definitely has reflected in our performances as a team. But just as individuals, it's amazing to see the girls up their game and compete with some of the best players in the world.
What about the pressure that comes with that, though? Like the fact that you know that there's now an expectation on your performance, and I guess you're being judged a little bit differently now as well.
Yeah, definitely. And that's one thing that we spoke about as a group at the start, that a lot of people will be judging us by outcomes or performance. All we can do really is focus on our processes. And I think we've done a lot of work with Anne-Marie, our sports psychologist, in terms of making sure that we have routines in place. And that's what we're trying to judge ourselves on, is how well we execute our routines. If we can stick to them and be as diligent as possible, the outcome will take care of itself. So yeah, I think, look, there's obviously, once you become a professional athlete, everyone has their opinion and they're entitled to that. As a team, we're trying to stay away from that as much as possible and just focus on what we can control.
That must be the dream, though, Laura, to be a professional athlete.
Yeah, I think we're all so incredibly fortunate to be in the position that we're in, to wake up in the morning and to know that you're going to either go out to North County or the HPC, which is such a professional setup, and train and I suppose improve your skills, but just give yourself an opportunity to be the best version of yourself as an athlete is amazing. And yeah, I think we're incredibly fortunate to be in the position that we're in, and we're all just relishing the opportunity.
So tell us about the injury, because it did keep you out of action for quite some time.
Yeah, I had a hamstring injury that I sustained not last summer, the summer before, and we had the ICC Championship and the ODI qualifiers in Zimbabwe last November. When I got back from that, we saw the consultant and it was a little bit more serious than we had hoped for, and unfortunately it did keep me out of the game for longer than expected. But I think one of the benefits of having full-time contracts meant that I could be in the gym with Catherine and Gregor S&C to give me the best opportunity to come back as quick as possible, which was midsummer, and thankfully I haven't had an issue with it since. So yeah.
That must be great, though, to have that peace of mind, to know that you can just focus on your recovery, that you're not under the pressure maybe to get back and play, because you know that there's a bigger picture there.
Yeah, definitely. And I think when you're an amateur sports person, you're trying to balance possibly working full time or studying full time, and then trying to get in, do your physio, do your S&C sessions, and then something. And unfortunately, at times something has to give. Whereas now we're in a position to just prioritise our recovery fully. And I think going forward, it's going to get the best out of our athletes.
So you mentioned the tour to Pakistan has been one of the highlights. You were really in the headlines, totally captured the imagination of the people back here at home. What was that like for you guys?
It was an unbelievable experience. I think going over there, I know personally I didn't really have huge expectations, and I don't think the girls did either. Before we went out, we had a call with Cricket Ireland, and the Department of Foreign Affairs were also on that call. So we knew going out to Pakistan there would be different challenges that we'd face. The security issue was one thing that was on the back of our minds. But as soon as we got over there, the PCB went to every length to try and make us feel as comfortable and secure as possible. We had an opportunity to train and play in the Gaddafi Stadium, which was amazing. It was an amazing experience. But we also had a TV there. So when the men were playing over in Australia, in between our sessions, we were able to follow them, which was brilliant. But yeah, I thought we adapted quite well. We found the ODI series tough going, but as soon as we switched into the T20 format, I thought we rectified anything that we wanted to, and we definitely put our mark on the T20 performance.
How did you do that? Because it's not an easy thing, especially when maybe things hadn't gone to plan in the couple of weeks beforehand.
Yeah, we were definitely clear about what our plans were when it came to ODI cricket. A lot of girls had never played over, well, none of us had played in Pakistan before, but in those types of conditions, the ball turned a lot more. In fairness, they were really good batting pitches. But I think that was one challenge as a team we faced. And then secondly, trying to adapt quite quickly. It's great having your plans, but when you play against better players, they're going to come up with a plan B and plan C very quickly. And we have to be able to do that as well. So that was one thing that we found tough going, but we spoke a lot as a team. And I do think going into the T20 series, we were really clear on areas that we wanted to execute and areas that we wanted to exploit.
There's a lot of young players on your squad as well. How have they adapted to, I guess, life as cricketers, life on the road, everything that comes with it?
Yeah, I think they're relishing the opportunity similar to ourselves. But for them, I envy their position to come into a professional situation and to have access to such brilliant coaches, but also training facilities means that they're only going to grow as players and at a rapid rate, which is great to see. We saw Amy Hunter and Orla Prendergast, two of our top order batters, perform incredibly well against Pakistan, and having, I suppose, played in those conditions and come out of it now, that will give them huge confidence going into the T20 World Cup in February.
It almost, all of it, all the experiences though, like the good and the bad, the wins and the losses, just everything that came with the last year will all stand you in good stead, I'd imagine, now heading into 2023.
Yeah, I think we're incredibly united as a team, and that has definitely spoken in our performances. There's definitely areas that we want to improve on, but I think as a group we're growing day in, day out, and that's all you can really ask for. It's easy to become quite outcome focused and judge yourself on, I suppose, how much you win or lose. But for us, as I said, we're trying to focus on how well and disciplined we are when it comes to our routines, and we're confident that if we stick to those, then the outcome will take care of itself. But we also know that we're going to face some tricky and challenging oppositions over the next couple of months, which we welcome, and as a group you're only going to get better if you're facing better sides.
Yeah, I think that's probably the key, really, isn't it? Just to consistently be facing better teams and then try and improve performance all of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think some of our success in Pakistan was down to the fact that we had so many fixtures this summer. It gave players a real opportunity to go out and bat in a number that they may not have batted in previously, but to experience that and to bowl more overs against better players, and ultimately it all counts. So yeah, I think having more fixtures has been brilliant for us as a team as well.
So what are you looking forward to most about 2023?
I think just the direction that this team are heading in. I think there's so much potential within the group, and we saw glimpses of it throughout the summer. But when we all fire as individuals, I think this team is just going to go from strength to strength. The T20 World Cup in February in South Africa is massively exciting for us. We missed out on the last T20 World Cup, so we're itching to get over there. And then we have some fixtures later on in the summer, which I don't know if they've been announced yet, but some very exciting fixtures that we're really looking forward to. So yeah, we're really excited about the year ahead.
Do you get a bit of a break over Christmas?
We have 2 weeks off over Christmas. We had a nice week off when we got back from Pakistan, but it is a quick turnaround. I think we had the third week in January over to South Africa. So yeah, it's all steam ahead at the moment.
Right, so how long will you be there for?
I think so. It depends on if we hopefully we'll get out of our group stage, but we are guaranteed 4 games. And I think the last group game is the 22nd of February. I think now I'll definitely have to check that.
So definitely about a month anyway.
Yeah. So,
Brilliant. Laura, thank you so much for taking the time to chat to us. We really appreciate it and wish you all the best for the year ahead.